Not every headache requires a painkiller. I know painkillers have been abused, especially because they can get it over the counter. Today, we're going to be talking about something really interesting. Maybe you've not heard about it before. It's called brain health. And also, we'll be talking about headaches. What do you do when you have headaches? Are all headaches the same? These are the questions that we're going to be answering today. Today, we have a special guest, a neurologist who has experience across many nations. He is a specialist when it comes to headache because he has a fellowship in headache. So tell me, who else can say it better than someone who specializes in headache? Welcome with me, Dr. John Oluwole. Welcome to Health Talk with Dr. Mo.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited and looking forward to what we're going to discuss today.
I'm excited as well.
Yeah. So, welcome to Health Talk with Dr. Mo, a show where we make it real, relatable, and rooted in facts. So now, let's deep dive into it, Dr. John.
Sure.
What is brain health?
Well, I think if we're going to talk about brain health,
Yeah.
we've got to first understand what health is, right? And then we
Yeah.
narrow it down to brain health.
Okay.
So health is a state of total well-being, okay, in all aspects, and not just the absence of disease. Right? So, and then when we come to brain health, it means that an individual's brain it's completely in a well state. So that brain is wholesome in every aspect of it, and not just the absence of brain disease. So the brain is in an optimal state
Right.
for a given for the person's age, right? So
Okay.
because we know that as we age, we naturally lose some brain cells, and
That's not nice to hear. That's not nice to hear.
right. Well, unfortunately, that's the
Yeah.
case. So I raised that with a patient just I think this week. We're talking about they had a brain scan, and their brain scan came back, and they said the radiologist mentioned that there is some mild atrophy, right? And atrophy just means it's a mild
Shrinking of the brain. Right.
and the man was concerned about that, and he's 80 years old.
Oh.
So,
Oh.
so I was explaining that some degree of atrophy is acceptable,
Right.
depending on our age. So as we age, we lose a certain amount of brain cells. So whatever we define as brain health has to take into cognizance these things. So given the individual's age, say the brain should be as normal as possible, wholesome, and should not harbor any disease. So that's what I will define as brain health.
Wow. So you mentioned that as we age, our brain shrinks. Is that why we keep forgetting things now?
No, that is true. Our memory capacity kind of does not stay the same throughout life. So that is why, there's a whole discussion around what is considered as healthy aging.
Right.
So there's what we call benign forgetfulness of the elderly. So as people age, their memory capacity declines, and so is our cognitive capacity in general. Ability to think very fast, ability to accomplish things fast, it declines. So does memory. But there's a given level of decline that we think is acceptable. And there's a fine line between what is acceptable decline and what is excess decline. And that leads to another realm, right? So brain health will be wholesomeness of the brain, complete wellness of the brain,
Right.
And not just the mere absence of disease. But of course, before you can say one's brain is healthy, there has to be absence of disease, and on top of that, that brain has to be wholesome. That's the totality of things.
Wow. Okay. You mentioned that there's a fine line between the normal, which is there a percentage for each age? And then at what point do you want someone to come and see you? When that fine line, I want you to define that fine line for us.
Right. So it's not very easy to, to set them apart. But what we look at is we have the subjective component and we
Okay.
have the objective component. So the subjective component is when it comes to your knowledge or to your awareness or to the awareness of people around you that this individual is forgetful, right? So that becomes a subjective thing,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And then the objective one is when you come to the clinic and then we administer some what we call psychometric tests,
Okay.
where we test all cognitive domains. We test memory, we test judgment, we test attention.
Wow. That's a
and
lot.
And all types of attention. Is a sustained attention, shifting attention, and all of that. So we assess all of this against what we expect these individuals to, at the level we expect them to function, based on their age, level of education, and their environment. So when we see that there's a clear departure from where they're supposed to be, and we also allow a limit,
Okay.
of what is considered normal on a scale. So when we give allowances for aging, so when you see them falling well below that, then you say, okay, this person, the level of malfunctioning is already beyond what we would accept as normal.
Wow.
Right? So that is the objective component.
Okay.
And then there is the subjective element as well. We look at, okay, if you think this person is forgetful, how is it affecting their day-to-day function?
Okay.
So if it's just mild forgetfulness and it's not really affecting anything, they can still do virtually everything and function really well, both with simple tasks, complex tasks. They can still function at work. They can still do everything. So in that case, it might just be a mild decline, and we just follow them up and see what happens over time.
Okay.
If nothing else happens, then you forget about it.
Okay.
Right? So that's how we approach that, getting that fine line.
Okay.
So the basic thing is there are psychometric tests.
Okay.
Some of them just screening tests, some of them more detailed. So some of them can be administered within 5-10 minutes, and you see how this person is functioning globally. And if you still have concerns, then you may now do a more detailed psychometric analysis.
You know why I'm smiling? Because I keep forgetting. You want to do something and then you keep forgetting. And my daughters are like, Mommy, you were saying something. And I'm like, I forgot. So, this has given hope that I can still do my day-to-day function. So, so my psychometric is not that bad after all.
Definitely we wouldn't be very much concerned in someone who is quite young.
Okay.
Right? So very likely around this age, people have a lot of things on their minds.
Yes. Yes,
And
you're right.
So hence, that's what makes it look like we're more forgetful. Whereas actually memory is intact.
Okay.
So it's just a question of so many things weighing on the attention. And we tend to overestimate how much our attention capacity is. Because a lot of times we say we are multitasking, but we're actually not multitasking. What we're doing is that we're just shifting between different tasks, right? So there's only so much that our attentional capacity can handle per time.
Okay.
So when we have so many things competing for attention, then we tend to not be able to retain very many things. So sometimes you put something in the microwave and then you actually completely forget about it, and it takes time to remember you were doing something. And it's not because you have a problem with your memory. It's just because what I often say is the attention is the gateway to memory. Because you're telling me something now or telling me about and my mind is
Wandering
wondering
somewhere
about
else.
so many other things.
Yes.
And then later, when you ask me what you told me, I wouldn't be able to reproduce
Yeah.
it. Not because the substrate for memory has a problem, but just because at that time I wasn't directing my attention to that, and I couldn't really encode it.
Right.
And what you haven't encoded,
It's not.
you can't
You can
consolidate
never remember it.
and you can't retrieve. Right? So that's the issue.
So like the brain is like a computer. It's garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. Okay. So are there everyday habits that quietly damage our brains?
Yeah, certainly. I think habits contribute a lot to our health in general, and the brain is not exempt from it. So whatever unhealthy habits we pick up or we practice ultimately affects every organ and does affect the brain, because no member in the body or no organ in the body exists in isolation. All the organs function in unison to help one another. So for example, if you look at the kidneys or the heart, so the kidney has to function very well for the brain to be healthy. All the waste products from that we generate in the body from daily, activities, from all of the things we eat. So for all of the processes going on in the body, so we produce a lot of waste products that would need to be cleaned off and removed from the body.
Right.
So the kidney does a lot of that. Some of those waste products, if they accumulate, they can begin to disturb the brain. And one can even get unconscious, for example. And that is why kidney health will ultimately promote brain health. Heart health will promote brain health. So whatever it is that promotes general well-being
Right.
will ultimately affect the brain.
Okay.
So habits, like, I think whenever I discuss or I have the opportunity to talk about habits that affect the brain, the number one thing I will talk about is sleep.
Sleep.
Yeah, right. So sleep is so important. It is so important. I'll say it again. It is so
Can
important.
you hear? Sleep is important.
Right. It is very, very important. So if we don't sleep, we actually harm our brain. And, whatever diseases that we were naturally or inherently prone to in terms of brain health,
Right.
we can actually accelerate the development of these diseases by not sleeping well enough. So things like Parkinson's disease, things like dementia, all these things, they can come on faster. And even the brain ages faster if we don't sleep. So sleep is extremely important, right?
As you were saying, sleep is extremely important. In my mind, I'm like, when we were growing up, they'll say, if you sleep for 8 hours, you've slept 27 years of your life. And right from secondary school, they've made it so much of a big deal that the more you don't sleep, the more you are a serious-minded person with life. So those, I've never been, even through medical school, I've never had that thing of having to read all night. But I find it very interesting to see my colleagues read all through the night, and they measure their success or their level of responsibility by the number of hours they do not sleep. So what exactly is the recommended number of hours
that we should sleep for?
Yes.
Now, it's an interesting discussion. I am very well aware of this ideology that, if you sleep for a given number of hours, you would have slept for whatever proportion of your life, and that you didn't come to the world to sleep.
Yes.
So it's a serious business.
Yes.
But honestly speaking, if we don't sleep enough, it's actually counterproductive in the long run.
Okay.
Because what is the point in not sleep? And you can't even be as productive as you would ordinarily be.
Yeah.
So my opinion is those people are probably mistaken, right? Because what we know from science is that someone who sleeps for less than 6 hours a night, their judgment is comparable to the judgment of someone who's drunk.
Oof.
Right? So
That's below the belt. For those that don't sleep, now if you don't see, I will need to ask you how many hours you slept before I can seek advice from you.
Right.
Yes.
So the number of accidents on the road, making the wrong judgment on the road, at work. Sometimes things happen and you'll be like, how come I made this particular decision? You might have made that decision on the day you didn't sleep well. So sleep is very, very important. Of course, there are days when, for some reasons, we don't sleep well. That's understandable. Nobody sleeps very well for 365 days a year. I mean, there are disturbances, there are stresses of life.
Yeah.
That is understandable. But what we're looking at is what is your sleep pattern over a long-term period, right? So people really, really need to sleep. Now, like today, I saw somebody who has epilepsy, and they have been controlled on their medication for so many years and never had a seizure.
Oh, wow.
And it's been maybe 10 years without a seizure. And
Impressive.
unfortunately, they came in with a seizure today after so long a time. So as a neurologist, even though we didn't have much time on our hands, but it's my responsibility to find out why, even though they have been regular on their medication, they didn't skip their medication, why do they have a seizure? All the blood tests did not show anything, that could trigger a seizure or precipitate a seizure.
Yeah.
But then when we dug deeper, we realized that this individual actually slept for just 3 hours the night before they had the seizure. So sleep deprivation can even trigger a seizure. That's just an example of, what inadequate sleep or insufficient sleep does to us.
Wow.
And there are people who also come to the clinic to complain of different things. Somebody came in and complained of headache. It was very easy to prescribe some medication.
Yeah.
But when we dug deeper, we realized that they were just not sleeping enough. So the treatment for them was not any medication.
It was to prescribe sleep.
It was to prescribe sleep, right?
Yes.
So this individual's sleep need was about 9 hours per day, but they were just sleeping for 6 hours.
Oh.
So when you're talking about how much sleep we need as individuals, it varies. So the question is, for you as a person, you need to know yourself. How much sleep have you ever had that made you feel so fresh and ready to take on the day without undue fatigue, without undue, irritability, that you can handle all the stresses of the day and you feel so fresh and cognitively sharp to take on the day? That is the minimum sleep that you need.
Oh.
Right? So for some people, if they need, let's say, 6 hours, if they need 7 hours, if they need 8 hours to feel fresh, then that's their sleep need.
Wow.
So it's recommended that these individuals do whatever they can to get this much of sleep every night.
Okay.
As much as possible. But the blanket recommendation is we all need a minimum of between 6.5 to 8 hours of sleep per night. And then individual needs vary. I know there are some people that, if they sleep for 5 hours, they are fine. They can't even sleep longer than that. So those are rare individuals that have a different somnotype.
Time, right.
So the other way to flip it around is ask yourself, what amount of sleep do you have that makes you feel groggy the following morning, feel irritable? That means it's not sufficient.
Not enough. Okay.
Right. So for me, I know it has to be a minimum of 6 hours for me as an individual.
Okay.
So if I get 7 hours, I'm happy. So 7 hours looks like
7
the
hours. You
ideal
want to carry a mountain.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So that is it.
Okay. Okay. Sleep. So how do you write prescriptions for sleep? I can just imagine if I'm sleep deprived and I'm coming to you, Dr. John, I'm sleep deprived. I'm just thinking I'm just being...
You know, the interesting thing is, we all know that if you look through the ICD, maybe ICD-10 or ICD-11, you would find insomnia as one of the sleep diagnoses, right? You know, one of the diagnoses I found on the ICD, or the International Classification of Diseases, that actually surprised me the most was that sleep insufficiency syndrome is a recognized diagnosis.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. So I can get a sick leave for sleep insufficiency.
So because we're all so busy, we have work, you know, requirements, we have family issue. I mean, we have
environmental
family
factors,
demands, and all of our stress. So we have so much to do and so little time. So a lot of people, what I realize is they just don't have that time to give enough time to sleep. So in the clinic, I try my best to go through their social history, and even analyze what they do from day to day to see how much time is left for them to sleep. And for a lot of people, you have to now help them plan to see how you can add at least one more hour.
So you give them a timetable for sleep.
Yeah, exactly. To say, okay, for some of them, they go to bed, they can't go earlier than 1 a.m. and then they have to be up at 7. So you have to find a way to, you know, steal one extra hour, right, to make them go to bed at 12.
Wow.
So it's that bad, because all of us are so busy and caught up with the demands of life, right? So that's the thing.
Well, I think there's a lot to talk about sleep. I think that's a fresh new episode that we need to come back to. So watch out. We're going to have a full episode on sleep, because it seems like a lot of us some things need to be drummed into our ears, right? Okay, so going further now, what are the different types? Now we'll go into headaches. You mentioned headaches.
Right.
What are the different types of headaches you've seen in your practice? And how can I differentiate? This is just a mild headache. I need to just take a painkiller, or I need to run to Dr. John because of this headache.
Okay. So I'd approach it this way that, you know, simplistically speaking, because, I mean, there are volumes and books that have been written about headaches. So if we start to discuss all the headaches that there are, or to start to break them down, we may not leave this place. Because there's a whole document on the International Classification of Headache Disorders, right, which is probably 100 and something pages, where we look at the various, how to classify headaches and look at that. But to break it down to, in simple terms for everyone to be able to understand, so we look at headaches as either being a primary headache or a secondary headache. Now, so what is a primary headache? The analogy I give in the clinic is there are two kinds of symptoms. There are useful symptoms and useless symptoms, so to speak. A useful symptom is a symptom that's drawing your attention to a problem. So a headache could be there because something is wrong, and it's drawing your attention to that. Let's say somebody is having a tumor, or somebody is having, you know, some infection in the brain, or somebody is having flu, or somebody is having a bleed in the brain or a stroke. So there could be headache, which is pointing an attention to that problem that needs to be solved. So that's a useful headache. Now, what I call a useless headache is a headache that is there, but there's no other problem. You've checked and there's no problem at all. It's like your car just giving you signals, and you've checked everything. And there's just this signal that wouldn't go away. So that's what it is. So that's the primary headache. So it's a headache in which there is no problem at all with the body. There is no problem at all with the brain.
It just feels like coming to you.
Exactly.
Just gaining attention.
Exactly. It's just like craving attention.
So attention-seeking headache.
So that's a primary headache. In which all that there is is that headache. And it's not caused by any disease of the brain.
Okay.
So there are individuals who are born with that inherent tendency to get headaches. So they are naturally prone to headaches.
Okay.
So that is a primary headache. So those sorts of headaches, people don't need to worry so much about them.
Okay.
But the secondary headaches are the ones that maybe 5% of people who come to the clinics complaining of headaches would have a secondary headache. And that's what we worry about. And that's what we want to detect
Okay.
and address the underlying problem. But the majority of people, 90 to 95%, have a primary headache. So what we try to signal to the populace is how to recognize when we think it's a secondary headache, when you need to run to Dr. John, like you said.
Yeah. take the next flight or the next bus to Dr. John.
Right. So, and they can look alike.
Okay.
The presentation can be the same. It can look like a migraine. We know that migraine, usually you could have headache on one side of the head.
Yeah.
It could be throbbing.
Throbbing, yes.
And you might be light sensitive or sound sensitive. You might have some nausea. You might be vomiting. You might be dizzy. So we know all these features. But a headache can also present like that and may not be just migraine. It might be caused by something else. So first and foremost is for people who have long-standing history of headaches.
Okay.
Maybe they've had headaches for years. It's part of their lives. Very, very likely these individuals have a primary headache.
Okay.
Right? Because if it was secondary, by now it would have shown itself. So what we say, if there is a change in that pattern, so you've known yourself, you know your type of headache. If there is a change in the pattern of your headaches, then you need to see somebody who is knowledgeable about headaches to check that there's no new thing that's underlying it, right? And a lot of times, even doctors can be deceived because once you come in and they say, "Oh, it's a known migraine sufferer," it's no, it's just your regular migraine. They give you painkillers and you go away. I've attended to at least 2. I can remember at least 2 now, or even or more. But right now, there are 2 cases that stand out of people who were known to have migraine, and they go to the emergency room. We're assessed by a busy emergency physician. They say, "Oh, known person with known migraine. Okay, very likely it's a migraine. Give them painkillers." And they got better. They got well, and they were discharged. And they came back again
with the same headache.
They were like, "Oh, this is a poorly treated migraine. Okay, let's give better treatment, hydrate them," and then they send them home. They came back the 3rd time, maybe a few days later, and then this was when they realized that this handshake was going beyond the elbow, right? And then they called me to come review, and then when we took further history, we realized that this headache was different. So, and what brought it out was just asking them, "Is this your usual headache?" They said, "No, it's not." Okay, can you compare and contrast? And then they started comparing, and we got the clue as to what the cause of this headache might be. And then we investigated, and it was exactly what we suspected, and we addressed it, and they got well and didn't have to come back. So a change in pattern is important, right? And number 2 is the age at which it starts.
Okay.
Most people who have migraine, for them it would have started. I think you told me you got migraine.
Oh, yes. In fact, migraine is like every day.
Right. So for most people, for you, at what age did you realize that you seem to be suffering from frequent headaches?
I think it was in primary school then.
Right.
And I noticed that anytime the lights comes on, I always had this very funny throbbing headache. And then my grandmother taught me to push. There's an artery here. Then she tells you, okay, just push on the artery, close your eyes and release it. And the headache goes.
Oh, wow.
And then after a while, interestingly, I don't know how she got that formula or where she got it from.
Right.
It worked for a while.
Right.
And then the headache, just like you said, you have to know the pattern of the headache. Then I realized that, look, Yes, I get the temporary relief, but however, I was always more comfortable in a dark room. And then it started affecting my sight, and I thought, okay, now there is more to this headache. Which, I mean, just to buttress the fact that you have to know you're normal for you to know when an abnormal comes up.
Right.
And then they took me to the ophthalmologist, and they said, oh, she's got astigmatism.
Oh.
So that was when I started using glasses. So, you know, when the headache comes, if I quickly use my glasses, then it subsides. But if I'm stubborn about it, I'm going to be punished for it, because the head is going to be really throbbing, and then you have to put ice on it. You have to do this. I mean, yeah. So you've mentioned three important things, which for me strikes a chord. One, you have to know yourself. You have to know you're normal, so that when the abnormal comes, you can easily say, this is not what it is. And then you mentioned that even the doctors need to know to probe well, ask the right questions. Because if you did not ask the right questions to the patient probably didn't think it was something important to differentiate what I used to have and now, right? And you said with age as well. So that means that some headaches are acceptable at some ages, while they're not at another age.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You've put it right. And, we normally say, when I was training, sometimes we come and tell the consultant that the patient is a poor historian. You understand? And the consultant will send you back and say, no, it's not the patient. It's you that doesn't know how to take history.
You're a poor history taker.
Right, because definitely we know that patients are different. There are people who walk into the room and they are so intelligent and they give you everything you need to know.
Yes.
Right? But there are those people that are so stingy with information. They tell you one thing and then you have to probe. You're prodding them to give you more information. So it can be difficult, but then we've got to ask the right questions. So that's the thing about age, that most people with migraine, which is a primary headache, start very early in life. Like yours started in primary school, for some others in high school, for some others in uni, right? So it's uncommon that migraine will start for the first time after the age of 40. It's uncommon. We see it.
Okay.
We see
but
it.
The incidence is very low.
Exactly.
Okay.
Even in the 50s, I've seen someone whose migraine started after the age of 50. Wow. So we call this late life migraine.
Okay.
But of course, this will be after you have exhaustively looked for something else.
Every other thing.
Right? So that's the thing. So if someone who is in their mid 40s and their 50s come in and they're starting to have headaches without prior history of headaches, then that would mean they would need to see a doctor to be sure there's nothing else that is going on that's causing the headache. So that's important. And then when I get called from the emergency room, sometimes somebody was sent to me today from an internal medicine expert.
Okay.
For headache, and this person is in their early 30s. So that this person has been having headaches for the past 4 days after exercise. And then we start thinking, okay, what could be wrong? What could be that? But what's most important to me is not even how bad the headache is or for how long the headache has been there. But what's important to me is how did it start? Right? So instead the headache is so bad, it's 10 out of 10. Okay, wow. That's okay. But for me, I'm not so worried about a headache of 10 out of 10. But I want to know, in the first 5 minutes when the headache began, how intense was the headache? So the headache began as a 3 or a 4 or a 5 out of 10. And then how long did it take to get to 10 out of 10? So it became 10 out of 10 after 1 hour. Then I can see a slow progression.
Right.
But if somebody comes to me and says, I have a headache 10 out of 10.
From the get-go, or within 5 minutes it got to 10 out of 10, then my ears pop. And I'm like, something might be wrong here. Right.
It's not likely. So for this individual, we came in with the terrible headaches. I wasn't so worried because I knew this is like their migraine. They just got worse after exercise, right? And interestingly, some people have headaches during exercise or during intimacy with their partners. just about at the time when they're about to get to orgasm, they just develop an explosive headache.
Oh,
That one you will need to see a doctor. You have a chance of between 5 to 10% that it might be something else causing a headache.
okay.
Of course, that can also be a primary sex headache, well, maybe 90% of the time, but 5 to 10% chances are there that something is underlying that needs investigations.
There is
right?
problem in this life. There is problem. Oh my goodness. Who would have expected that when you're supposed to be relaxed and, being intimate with your partner, and it's very funny headache, keeps, it's,
Yeah,
okay.
it happens. So you can see when we say I've got a fellowship in headache medicine, so it's not for fun. Now, that it's
yes,
worth it.
now I can see why the fellowship. In fact, the fellowship it was necessary. It was
Right,
necessary.
right.
Sorry to cut you. I mean, we omitted something. When you were talking about 100 and something pages
Right.
on headache,
Right.
the first thing that came to my mind is that I'm sure they have defined a headache, because nobody like, okay, I have headache, my head is aching, headache.
Yeah.
But I'm sure from your fellowship, there is a definition of
No,
headache.
definitely there is.
So what is the definition of headache?
So it depends on the society.
Okay.
We have various societies. We have the World Headache Society.
Okay.
We have the International Headache Society, and we have the International Society for the Study of Pain. And all of them have their own definitions, right? So, but for the World Headache Society, which is where I got my fellowship from.
Okay.
So any headache, any pain,
Any pain?
from above the shoulder level
So from shoulder, okay,
upwards.
to this point?
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's a headache.
Ah.
Right. But then there are other societies who separate headache from facial pain, that any pain from around the eyebrow
Yeah.
upwards and then up to the level of the neck.
Oh.
The top of the neck will be a headache.
Okay.
And anything else from here downwards will be facial pain. Right?
Okay.
And then maybe here will be neck pain.
Neck pain.
But as far as the World Headache Society is concerned, any pain
Anything
from
from
here
anything that
upward,
I
from
think
above your shoulder.
I think I like the World Society one. I think that makes sense, because if we tell people from here to here, then somebody will say it's in between here and here, so we'll not seek help. So viewers, for anything above your shoulder is headache. Forget the other definition. We're taking the definition of the fellowship.
But I think for most people, they would relate more to from the eyebrow up, from above the eyebrow level to the top of the head, and then coming down to the top of the neck. So it will be a headache. So if it's from here downwards, maybe it will be a neck pain, and then maybe from here downwards will be a facial pain. So that would be easier to comprehend, perhaps.
Okay. Because the reason why I said, some people will say, okay, it's just facial pain, maybe because, and it might be something that
Coming
is in
from-
the head that is relating to the
Definitely.
facial. Because I know, facial palsy as well. Some people get facial palsy, and it might be a tumor somewhere that has spread or something. Never can tell, because that's why I don't want us to define it. Anything shoulder up.
I see. Okay.
Let's tell them shoulder up.
Okay.
So when they come to you,
And then you can test it out.
then you will now because somebody will say Dr. John has said no. So this is just eye pain, facial, my nose, facial. Please, shoulder up. It's okay. Dr. John is very nice. He would accept you. Don't worry about defining it for yourself. So what are some of the triggers of headache that you've seen, especially when it comes to food?
Okay, what I would say to that is, when we talk about triggers, I think we go back to the primary headaches. I think that's where we talk a lot about triggers, and that's what majority of people have anyways. So sleep is one of them. I like talking about sleep. So if for some individuals, inadequate sleep could be a trigger. And for some others, excess sleep can be a trigger. There was an individual who came into my clinic, and what they observed was quite counterintuitive. What they actually reported was they were getting more headaches on the weekends than they were getting during the weekdays. In fact, they had no headaches during the weekdays. They were getting headaches on the weekends.
Okay.
And for a lot of migraine sufferers, it's the opposite. They get headaches during the week.
During the week, yeah.
When they are stressed and at
Exactly.
work. And on weekends when they are relaxed and there's not so much to do, stress levels are down, they don't get much headaches. So that was kind of counterintuitive. So what I found out was I asked them, okay, is there anything you do on your weekdays that you don't do on the weekends? And it turned out that at around 8 a.m. on working days, on weekdays, they would have their first cup of coffee.
Coffee.
And
yes.
on weekends, they sleep in. And they miss.
And they miss their dose.
They miss their dose of coffee. So that was the clue. And I just told them, you don't need any prescription, you don't need anything, you don't need any tests, don't need any investigations. Just make sure you maintain the same sleep pattern you were maintaining during the week.
Okay.
Maintain the same during the weekends. At 8 a.m., get your coffee. And then that was the end of that headache. Right?
Even coffee is a prescription. Now, going into coffee itself.
Right.
Because there's a lot of addiction to coffee. You know, I know quite a lot of people. I'm not interestingly, if I take coffee, I'll sleep.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
It makes me, if I take coffee now, I can sleep till tomorrow morning.
I feel I can guess, therefore I can guess your age then.
Really?
I feel people who tell me that they take coffee and they sleep easily, a lot of them are younger than 40.
Science is wrong in this one.
Oh, okay. So I'm wrong here.
Yes, you're wrong here.
Okay. So you're over 40.
Over 40, yes.
Okay. And yet you drink
And
coffee and you go to bed and you sleep.
Even right from when I was in med school.
Right.
I used to tell my friends,
Okay.
you know, when they always want me to go to the lecture theater so we read overnight. It's not my thing.
I see.
So they say, oh, take coffee. And I tell them, if I take coffee, I'll sleep. So there was this day, we had an exam, an assessment the next day. And I decided that, you know when you're in school, sometimes peer pressure, because, when you say something, they're like, no, you're lying and all that. So I wanted to just prove them wrong. And then I went with them to go and read. Meanwhile, I'd made sure that I had read to the best of my knowledge, ready for the assessments. And then we went. As soon as we got there, they had made a jar of coffee in the flask, hot, sipping it. And I took the coffee. The only thing I remember was in the morning when I woke up in the lecture theater.
Oh, wow.
So I just ran to my room to go and have a shower, and I came back.
Oh.
So since then, I don't touch it.
Oh, wow.
So I proved to them, and I proved to myself again that...
No, but you haven't tried it when you turned 40.
I have not tried it again, maybe because of the mentality of...
You should try it now. If you try it now, then you tell me what the
Okay, I'll try it. I'll try it during the weekend.
All right.
When I don't have anything.
You'll be surprised.
Stake.
And at what time would you try it?
I'll try it in the morning.
Oh, no. Oh, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay, so I should try it in the night.
Okay, so there are people who tell me, like, I was at a restaurant with a group of friends.
Okay.
And, after having dinner, after the dessert, and it was late. It was around 10 p.m. or 11 p.m.
Right.
After we finished having the dessert. And then they brought some coffee. And I'm like, oh, coffee at 11 p.m. No, it's a capital no.
No.
Otherwise, I wouldn't sleep. And one of them was like, oh, definitely, even if I took coffee now, I would still sleep. So now I'm like, definitely, you must be younger than 40. Because when I was much younger than 40, in my 30s, I could have coffee at 10 p.m. or even tea, Lipton tea, black tea.
Yes.
And I would still sleep well.
Funny
but
enough.
now,
yes.
I wouldn't try it. Otherwise, I'll be awake till morning.
Really?
Yes.
You know the interesting thing? So what kept me awake was Panadol Extra.
Okay.
And black tea without milk and sugar.
Okay.
I could do 7 hours calmly, but after 7 hours, I get a massive headache.
Right.
So what I do is I take it So I wake up at 3 a.m.
Right.
Exam starts at maybe around 8 o'clock.
Right.
So I take it, so I wake up at 3 a.m. I try to take the tea,
The tea.
around 4.
Right.
So it takes me till almost, so I know once I'm going into an exam hall, I'm writing everything in my head first 1.5 hours.
Right.
Because after then, the next,
Headache.
nothing comes out again.
Headaches will start.
Yes. So now, even if I take, so now it has switched to green tea. If I take green tea now, my eyes are clear, memory sharp. Like it's like magic. Like I'm feeling drowsy and I take green tea. That's it. So is there something containing that? Is there something in our body that makes the switches? And now the challenge: when am I supposed to take the coffee?
Right. So the point is, so for the challenge,
Yes.
if you want to test whether you're susceptible or not,
Okay.
take it at night and see.
At night, okay.
Right?
And decaffeinated or caffeinated?
Of
coffee?
course, caffeinated.
Caffeinated.
Of course.
I'm going to buy it tonight.
Caffeine is what we're looking.
Yes.
We're looking for.
Okay.
So if you take, let's even say at 9 p.m. If you
9
have
p.m.
coffee at 9 p.m.,
Okay.
very very likely you'd have trouble sleeping. You would, very very likely, right? So inadequate sleep is a trigger for a lot of
Okay.
people, and then excess sleep as well
Oh.
can be a trigger because, migraine kind of prefers you having a routine. It doesn't like anything that
It's a discipline disease.
exactly. It doesn't like you to change much, right? So that's what migraine is. The number 2 is dehydration.
Yeah.
So I emphasize, drinking water to migraine patients. Sometimes just that change can bring about a massive reduction in the number of headaches they suffer.
Right.
So just ensuring you have adequate hydration. Some people I say not less than 1.5 liters or 2 liters of water per day.
Right.
And I'm not counting juices or coffee or other liquids. I'm talking about water itself.
Clear, odorless.
Colorless.
Colorless,
Tasteless.
odorless, tasteless. That's how we define water.
Exactly.
So, colorless, odorless, not Ribena, not green tea.
Right. If you're going to add anything into it, maybe you want to add lemon, that's okay.
Okay.
Or some mint, that's okay. You want to
Okay.
add some electrolytes, that's okay.
Okay.
But if you're drinking Coca-Cola, that is not part of it. So if you drink Coca-Cola, that is fine, but you need to still drink water.
You're breaking some tables.
So that is really, really important, right? So, and then not skipping your meals. So you need to have regular meals, right?
Right.
That is important. So skipping meals can be a trigger for some individuals, right? And stress is another one. I'm yet to see a migraine patient that is not affected by stress. So stress makes everything worse. So the more stress increases, then the more migraine gets worse.
Okay.
Right. So this is some of the triggers. And for some other people, exposure to light,
Yes.
bright light can potentially trigger their headaches.
Yeah.
And for some people, now it's debatable, but we know that certain foods can potentially trigger migraines in people who are susceptible to them. There are people who eat certain kinds of meat that have certain seasonings in them.
Oh, okay.
And some of those seasonings can potentially trigger migraine.
Oh, right.
And for some people, they talk about chocolate.
Yeah, I've
although-
heard about the chocolate. Dark chocolate or something.
Right,
Yeah.
different for different people.
Okay.
But that is kind of controversial because there are experts who feel that it's not a chocolate per se, but that the consumption of chocolate is part of the prodrome for migraine.
Oh, okay.
So that people who have migraine, just a day or so or hours before the headache, what they call the prodrome, they can have cravings. So, and that is part of the migraine process itself.
Now I see.
So
It's
they-
making sense
right,
now.
Right. So they crave chocolate.
Yeah,
and
sometimes
they
you just
eat
want to. Yes.
Exactly, and they now blame the chocolate for the headache, whereas it's just like thunder coming out of lightning. So it was going to come anyways, even without the chocolate, because it's just part of the cravings, and that's why some people have divided migraine into prodrome,
Okay.
the aura for those who get aura, and then the headache,
Okay.
and then the post-drome. So it's like almost 4 phases. So you can
Okay.
see fellowship in headache medicine
In
makes
fact,
sense. Yeah,
It makes
sense.
it makes a huge sense, honestly.
So I'm inviting you to join the fellowship for headache medicine.
Reading can give me migraine. But definitely, counting money doesn't give me migraine. That one I'm very sure.
Right.
Yeah, very nice bank alerts don't give head. It doesn't give anybody headache.
No, it doesn't.
But
it kills migraine.
That reading, I'll think about it. It sounds like a very interesting area of medicine.
It is. Yeah, it is.
And you
Definitely.
know, the interesting thing is that it's like an octopus. Headache, and it goes here, it goes here, it goes here, it goes here. It's like it burrows into every aspect of life.
Definitely.
Something as simple as headache. I mean, it's brought out so much interesting discussion, and then it brings up memories. You know, food, diet, exercise, and all of it. It's quite interesting. Maybe I'll have a think about it.
Right, about it.
When the stress of life has gone down.
It's gotten better. Okay. So we'll be waiting for you in the World Headache Society to join us to get
I will think about
fellowship of headache and pain medicine. That would be lovely.
Oh, that's true. Yes, because pain. Everybody's got pain, right?
Right.
Sounds like a very lucrative area of medicine.
So you are looking at the economical side of things.
Everything you need to look at it 360.
I agree with you.
So what advice would you give to our viewers out there? What are some of the experiences you have seen that is like, I wish this person had come earlier? What are the pain points? So we want a pain point. What myth would you want to bust, and what advice?
Now I hope I can remember this, the components of this mnemonic. I think I used to use it in the clinic a lot a few years ago, but I haven't used it in a while. So I tend to say you should be smart about your headaches. I think S is for, what is S again? Sleep, I think.
Okay.
So you need to have consistent and sufficient sleep. It needs to be sufficient. It has to be consistent. Okay. Right? Let me see if I can remember what M is. Meals.
Meals.
I'm not doing badly today.
The atrophy has not affected that part. It's still sharp.
Oh, God. So meals. So you need to have regular meals. Right? And if you need to snack in between, you should snack in between if you have to. So hunger is one of the things that trigger headaches. What is A? Yeah, A is probably, where is my A? Okay, I'll come back to A.
Okay, so A is pending.
A is pending, yes. I think A has to do with aggressive things like stress. So you should handle stress well. Emotional and even, physical stress. So one would need to, be proficient in stress management as a migraine sufferer.
Yeah.
Then what is the next letter? R.
R.
What is R? R should be, I think R, okay, let me go to T. T should be triggers.
Triggers, okay.
Right?
Okay.
So your triggers, you should know your triggers.
Okay.
And do what you can to avoid those triggers if you can. There are some people that even alcohol is a trigger for them, right?
Okay.
And we say, okay, it's easy to say avoid alcohol, right? But for those who cannot avoid alcohol, then you may need to see Dr. John on how to handle those ones.
So Dr. John is waiting for you. If you cannot avoid alcohol, he has a very good formula for you to help you.
Exactly. And of course, hydration is another one. So I used to use this SMART a lot, but it's kind of, maybe the other one is regular exercise.
Regular exercise.
Yes. So
they wanted you to forget. The audience wanted you to forget because exercise, we all run away from it.
Oh, I see. I see. So exercise is important.
Okay.
There are individuals that when they incorporated regular exercise into their routine, the headaches got better. Right? And then the other thing to push out there is when we approach migraine, there are two, or let me say three.
Okay.
Three categories of treatment. Number one is lifestyle. Everything I've said so far, we haven't mentioned medications at all.
Yes.
It's all lifestyle.
Yes.
So you can
interestingly.
see, right? So it's a whole thing. On it. So for some people, lifestyle changes, making time for relaxation, creating time for stress relief, even things like meditations or what have you. All these things, neurofeedback.
Okay.
All these things. Exercise, hydration, meals.
So picking up hobbies that you like that relaxes your mind.
Exactly, yes. In fact, I have patients in whom medications have failed.
Wow.
And for them, they just need to learn to relax. So we go back to lifestyle when everything else fails. And that is why lifestyle is extremely important. It can be overemphasized, right? So that's a very important part. And then number two is medication.
Medication. Okay.
And the medication options, usually we split them into two.
Okay.
We have preventative medications.
Okay.
And we have rescue medications.
Right.
So the rescue medications are the ones everybody knows you want to take. A painkiller. So these are rescue medicines.
Over the counter.
Exactly.
From friends.
Right. So we use them.
Okay.
To cure a headache that's going on right now, to relieve a headache that's going on. Now, the third dimension is the preventative dimension.
Okay.
Where, because if you have headache right now and you take Panadol right now, it takes the headache you have right now, it takes it away. But it wouldn't stop you from getting headaches tomorrow morning. So there are preventative medicines that can actually reduce your chances of getting headaches. So if you were destined to get, let's say, 20 headaches in a month, if you are on a preventative medication, maybe it will be just 5 in a month. Or for some people, even disappears.
I need to see you for the prescription.
So for individuals who are getting very frequent headaches, they need to see a doctor to help them look at it. Maybe they might benefit from a well-chosen preventative option. Okay. So that's important.
Okay. Wow. Oh, it's been an amazing and interesting session. Honestly, guys, if you do not listen to this episode, you're missing a lot. It's been fun. It's been so exciting. It's been very informative, and a very big thank you to Dr. John. If we continue today, we would not leave, but time has gone and we have to go. We hope to bring him again and also to discuss about sleep, because sleep seems to be at the center of everything. So your sleep deprivation is not making you a superhero. It's killing you softly. Okay, so this is where we wrap it up. Thank you for joining us on this episode. And always remember that if this episode has blessed you in one way or the other, because I will call it a blessing, you know how much you have to pay to see Dr. John. We brought Dr. John free of charge. And, please like, please share, subscribe, repost. Somebody, you might be saving somebody's life by this simple information. And always remember, if you have any questions, please reach out to us as healthtalkwithdrmo@gmail.com. And remember, your health is your wealth. And the best insurance you can give yourself is prevention. So until we see you again, bye for now. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Dr. John. It was amazing to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.